Hey guys, so for today's video, I'm going to be filming my birth story with my son, Rhett. In case you missed the last video, which it would not surprise me if you did because I looked a hot mess. I had a big old sty in my eye, and that was a whole mess in itself. But if you missed that video, I announced that I had had another baby. I have had he's 2 months old today. Rhett is 2 months old. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Wow. I've been meaning to film this, but to be honest with you guys, my filming setup has been terrible. And my husband, shout out to him for getting me this for Mother's Day. It is a ring light setup so I can actually film videos and it doesn't look like all sketchy and stuff. So we're going to see. But anyway, hope you guys are doing well. So basically to kind of fast forward to what happened, this pregnancy was completely different than Arthur's pregnancy. I had nausea in the beginning, which was like Arthur's, but it was very peaceful. The pregnancy was not, I didn't have these contractions during the middle like I did with Arthur. However, I did have very early signs of labor with Rhett. I started thinking I was going to have Rhett around 34 to 36 weeks. We were pretty sure I was going to, because I was having prodromal labor. Prodromal, is that how you say it? Prodromal? I think it's prodromal. I don't know. It's basically when you have real contractions, but they're not progressing. They're not making you thin, and they're not making you're not dilating. And it happens at night. You feel like, oh, I'm gonna have this baby. I'm starting to feel like they're moving. They're not really progressing. And what happens is in the morning, they go away. It's very odd. I don't know why this happens, but it does. It happens, and it's very common for a lot of women. And sadly, a lot of doctors in the medical field don't really listen to the science that has come out that proves this. A lot of doctors are like, oh, it's just Braxton Hicks, or I've had a lot of nurses tell me in the past, oh, it's just Braxton Hicks. When in reality, it's real contractions. They're just not making you progress. It's very frustrating, and as a mother who has dealt with being kind of shoot off in the past, it's very heartbreaking and very frustrating. So I just want to make it real that if you are having these labor signs, I want to come out here as like a supportive mom. If you're having these weird signs of contractions and you're being told it's nothing, 9 times out of 10 it's what I just described. So yeah, so to kind of fast forward, pregnancy was easy. Around 34 weeks, we started having these signs of labor. So let me get to the beginning. When I found out I was pregnant with Rhett, what we did was we signed up to have a midwife. Her name was Hamilton, and she's really amazing. I got scared in the middle part of my pregnancy, towards around 15 weeks, I chickened out. I was like, I cannot do this. I started having people tell me things, and I was listening to all the annoying words saying, oh, midwifery is wrong, blah, 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 blah. Because I live in the South. I live in Alabama, where midwifery is new to the area. It's not new, but it's legal new. It became legal in 2018 or 2019. So it's somewhat new to Alabamians. I'm going to say that. And I was pretty set on it, but I freaked out and went away. So my spot was given away because I pulled out, and that's totally normal. That's how it works. So I went to an OBGYN. I liked this OBGYN practice. I really enjoyed the doctors. However, I started feeling really uncomfortable with some things he was telling me. To give an example, when I told him I was pregnant, he said, oh, because maybe Arthur had shoulder dysphoria, which he didn't. But because I don't have the birth note, maybe you're in an immediate reason to have a C-section. If you want to have a C-section, you can. No, that's not going to happen. So I was very adamant that I did not want a non-emergency C-section. And that's a whole nother topic on another video. But basically I hired this, so I went to the OBGYN. Just weird things were being said. I didn't feel like I was being checked on as much, and the appointments were lasting 5 minutes. I was annoyed. So I ended up going back to a midwife. Her name's Rebecca. She's amazing. I ended up seeing her, I started seeing her at 32 weeks, 31 weeks and some days. So 32 weeks, we'll say we started seeing her. She had one spot available. I happened to pounce on it. And it was really great. She saw me. She was incredible. Because I had had a postpartum hemorrhage with my first son, I wanted to have something called shadow care on the background, which means I had a doctor set up on standby. Some doctors are very supportive of this, and a lot of doctors are not. I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. A lot of doctors are not supportive of this at all. But my doctor, luckily the hospital that works with midwives is called Princeton Baptist Health in Birmingham, Alabama. They are incredible. They have a team of midwives. They're working on getting water birth in the near future. It's kind of a mess, but they're incredible. Their whole team's incredible. So they are changing the way Alabamians deliver. It's really incredible. But I had Dr. Cooper as my doctor on shadow care. She came in the room one day and just completely gave me her heart and was so kind and just blew me away with how different she treated me. From what was like a 5-minute appointment with my OBGYN in the past, she went from a 5-minute appointment to a 20-minute just talking about me, and I thought that was incredible. So anyway, my midwife was a saint. She saw me, and then I got to about, as I said, 34 weeks, I started having these pretermal labor, and because I was only 34 weeks, most of the time in Alabama, to give birth, you have to be 37 weeks to have a home birth, which was what my plan was. So we kind of went to Princeton a few times and just wanted to get things checked out. Every time I was told, oh, it's Braxton Hicks, oh, it's this, which is totally normal for labor and delivery nurses to throw you off like that. So anyway, I got to 40 weeks. You guys, I did not think I was going to make it to 40 weeks. I had never. With Arthur, I gave birth at 38 weeks and 3 days. Went into labor at 38 and 2 days. His whole birth was traumatic. If you watch the original video, I want to redo it and talk about what I will plan to do in the next few months is go back and do like a reaction video to that video, because I've learned so much in the small amount of time that I have been researching. I'm working towards becoming a doula. It's just so interesting, like all of this research I've been doing. It's so traumatic that more women do not know what's going on in the health field. But anyway, so got to 40 weeks and one day, and I started having extreme swelling. And I know it's normal to swell, but I started having extreme swelling. And to the point where I was like, okay, I'm 40 weeks. This is a little odd. Usually, the swelling, it was an amount of, it's not normal swelling. Like I was having edema where it was like, you could press on it and it wouldn't come back. Like it was and it kept a whelp in my leg for like 4 hours. I was like, okay. So I called Dr. Cooper's office and I was like, hey, like, is this normal? And she's like, no, like I would come in just to be checked. So I did. Got there. The nurse was a little concerned with the way he was sitting in my stomach, which he was kind of angled, but that didn't have anything. She just kind of wanted to check things. So I got there. I did not tell my midwife, and I'm going to talk about that more at the end of this video why I didn't, and I'll talk more about that. But I ended up going, and I talked to the midwife, or I talked to the nurse. They decided to go ahead and do an ultrasound at the hospital because they wanted to make sure his amniotic fluids were good, that he was still grading an 8 out of 8, which, in case you guys don't know, if they do an ultrasound at the hospital after like so many weeks, they'll grade your baby. 8 out of 8 means everything's perfect. And anything less than that, you need to be concerned, lightly concerned, unless it's a certain amount. So my low amniotic, so they did the ultrasound and found out I had very, very, almost 0% amniotic fluid. He had no amniotic fluid, which means basically he was struggling in the womb. So the midwife, so as I said, they have midwives at the hospital. So the midwife called the nurse and was like, hey, tell her I'd like to induce her. The nurse, when I kid you not, the nurse came in and looked so scared, because I know a lot of home birth people, if they heard induced, they'd run the other way. I was tired of being pregnant, to be straight up. So it's kind of like, okay, this is not terrible. And I trusted that hospital too. So she came and was like, hey, you have 0% amniotic fluid. We want to go ahead and see if you'd be okay being induced. And I was like, sure, let's get it over with. So what they decided, the rule was, this happened at 6:45. I arrived at the hospital. Amniotic fluid was checked at 8. And so anyway, at 9, they told me, hey, can we start Cytotec? So they started Cytotec about 10 or 11. I can't remember. So they started Cytotec. Cytotec is a pill that goes into your vaginal area. It goes inside of you, and it goes behind your uterus, and it helps your body start to thin. It's not really a contracting pill. It's more like a thinning pill. Usually you need Pitocin to contract. So they started that, and then at around 1 o'clock, I started feeling a little crampy. And I was like, and this whole time I had planned to have a natural birth, because as I said, I was planning on having a home birth. So I ended up, starting to get the crampy feeling. So I talked to the doctor or the nurse, and she's like, well, we have some like non-epidural. I consider an epidural not natural, but I also say, like, if you need like laughing gas, anything like that, that's fine. That's how I think. Epidural's fine too, but I'll talk more about that. So I got something called Stadol, which is basically, come to find out, it's like fentanyl, but it's fine. It helped take the edge off. I called my mom. I was like, hey, I'm on unicorn clouds. Like, it felt so good it felt good for a little bit. They gave me the other dose, I think around 1:45 or 2 o'clock. And that's when I started noticing contractions coming in pretty hot. So contractions were coming in really hot. I want to say I didn't feel anything in my front. It was all in my back. Contractions were all in my back. So at 4:30, they tried another episode of Stadol because they can, and it wasn't working. So I was like, I need my doula. So Brooke came in around 6:30 that night, or that morning. She came in at 6:30, and she's like, hey, I'm here. And I needed the help. She was so incredible. Got Kylie to do things on my back. It felt so good. But my contractions, I don't remember anything in the front. Everything was in the back. It was so strange. So everything was in my back, and they were pushing on it and shoving on it. And that's when at 7:30, they checked me. I think it was like 7:30 or 8. I can't remember exactly on the dot. Maybe 8. They checked me, and I was still at 3 centimeters dilated. I still swear that nurse did not check the right hole, because I think I was more than 3 centimeters dilated, because this is where it starts going in. 3 centimeters dilated. She checks me. She goes, okay, you're only 3 centimeters. Well, and I was like, I told her, I said, 3 centimeters away from what? Because I was thinking I'm in pain. So, this got to be more than 3 centimeters. This is why they say don't check you until, like, you're sure. But they checked me 3 centimeters away from what? You're only 3 centimeters, sweetie. Okay, cool. Walks out of the room. My water breaks. I mean, it gushes. And I'm like, oh my God. And that's when the pain, I'm just gonna be honest, it was pain. It started to get intense as to the point where I didn't know what to do with myself. I was screaming, not because, and I don't want people to think I was in pain, like to the point where like I couldn't handle it. I thought I couldn't handle it. And this is really important to remember. Remember what I just said. I thought I couldn't handle it. So she comes in, and I'm like, I need an epidural. I had sworn to myself I wouldn't get it. Not because I don't believe in epidurals, but because I had such a traumatic experience with my first son and the epidural not working and blah, 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 and messing my labor up in my birth. She's like, okay, are you sure? Yes, I want an epidural. So they got that. They started running for the epidural, started trying to get the doctor in and the anesthesiologist in, and that happened. The anesthesiologist came in at 8:35. I was not able to sit still. I was shaking. I was like trying. I couldn't sit. I was just in this situation, and guess what that's called? That I did not know it was called. Well, I knew what it was, like before labor, but I didn't think at the time, I didn't realize what I was in transition. I had no idea. It is intense. It is, I don't think I can do this. It is the fact of, I don't think I can do this. I'm dying. I can't do this. And that's where your mind starts letting you go. And you have to realize, which Kylie didn't know to tell me, you can do this without the epidural. You can do this without, you are almost there. And we just didn't realize it, because 5 minutes before I was told I'm only 3 centimeters dilated. So they came in, put the epidural in at 8:45. At 8:50, I told the nurse, as soon as they put it in, I said, I'm feeling like I need to push. To be honest with you, I told Brooke, my doula, at 8:20 to 8:30, I need to push. I just need to push. And she's like, well, you can do little pushes, because as we were told 15 minutes before, you're only 3 centimeters. There's no way I could go from 3 to 10 in that quick, but I felt like I did. So I was pushing ever so slightly every time they gave me every time I had to sit still, and it helped gently. It actually helped relieve some of the pressure. So at 8:50, she checked me and she goes, you're fully there. So I went from 3 centimeters, which I swear she didn't check it right, 3 centimeters to 10 centimeters, and fully, everything was done at 8:55. So so they're like, okay, you're there. Like, do you want to start pushing? This is what's different about this hospital, is they asked me, what do I want to do? I said, I need to push. This baby needs to come out. They turned off the epidural. Y'all, I got like literally 3 to 4 minutes of epidural, and it takes an epidural 15 minutes to come into fully in place. I say I almost did it completely natural, but I maybe not. But anyway, I was 10 centimeters. There's an importance to know between 10 centimeters being dilated and not being fully done, and that was fully done. So I was fully ready to go. And she's like, do you want to push? I said, well, can I do some practice pushes? And she said, absolutely. Did some practice pushes, was ready. Doctor Cooper came in. She's like, okay, you ready to have this baby? And I said, yes. She asked me how I wanted to push. I decided, because I had the epidural in place, I decided to do it on my back, but a certain way, kind of like with my legs. And it was a different way to do it. Like, they pulled me closer, and it was just really, it was better. I wasn't just laying on my back. It was kind of tilted up. It felt so good. I pushed for 5 minutes, and he was out. My sweet baby Rhett was out. And I'm going to insert some pictures throughout this video. Y'all, he was out. He was beautiful. It was such a forgiving experience. It was a healing experience. I got almost 3 hours of skin to skin, of just, you know, not being rushed, not being forced to leave, not being told, put your underwear, you know, go pee and you're done, and go and see if you can get out and go to the postpartum area. No, it was 3 hours of, what do I want to do? What do I want to do as a mom? I get to make the decisions, and that is so incredible. And I wish every mother would have that experience, because not a lot of moms do. I didn't with my first baby. The doctor was a complete moron and basically ruined my life. I thought forever, I thought I'm never going to be able to have another baby. It's always going to be this bad, when in reality it wasn't. And that's what I want all moms to know. Research, find the hospital that'll advocate for you, get a doula, do what you need to do to give yourself the birth you want, because that's what I had. And so I got 3 hours of skin to skin. We did some breastfeeding, and it was incredible. I decided, she asked if I wanted to leave. I said, sure, let's go to the postpartum room. I was tired of sitting there. Rhett was beautiful. He was 7 pounds, 9 ounces, 19 inches long, 19 3/4 inches long. And he was beautiful. He still is. He did so good. I did not tear at all. With my first son, I had a 2nd-degree tear. No tears, no hemorrhaging, no blood, nothing. Like, it was, I mean, I'm sure I bled a little bit, but not anything hemorrhaging. Forgiving experience. Beautiful. So let me talk about real quick before I end the video how my hospital experience was. It was great. Everything went well. He's fine. He's 2 months old now. I plan to do like a little update video in the next few weeks of everything after this video goes up. Anyway, that is my birth story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was really a beautiful experience, and it was healing. That's all I can keep saying, is like, it was really healing. Like, from my first traumatic birth to this one, it was really life-changing. So hope you guys are doing well. I plan to film some more videos in the next few weeks and have them uploaded. So thank you for sticking with me over the last few years of coming in and out of YouTube. But I'm excited. Bye.